up? Hey, the Spunk and Focus Preservatory project. I'm here with Bigmikesupreme. Very exciting, from New York. So yeah, welcome Big Mike. Thanks for meeting with me.
Hello.
So let's get started. Where are you from? Can you tell me where you were born, where you grew up?
Brooklyn, New York. I was born 5/27, 1981 at 5 p.m. 27. 5:27 p.m. So it's 5:27 and 5:27. And I grew up in the projects, as they say, right there, Vernon 303. There's some light feet people who would know what that is too, and some flexing folks too. But it's right between Myrtle and Willoughby. And if you are on the J train, you're going to Myrtle Avenue. If you're going, like more into Queens, if you look to your right, you'll see this big building. That's where I grew up.
Oh.
So, and some of the projects over there, and Marcy Pool is down that way. So that's why I grew up.
Word.
Yeah.
So you feel like your environment had any impact on your style? Like, did you grow up with any dancers around you?
My cousin could dance. My family was very musical. My grandfather was a musician.
Your grandfather was a musician? What kind of musician?
He choir, vocal, and and piano.
Wow.
So there was
a
a performance that used to happen called the Jazz Nativity, and it was him there. But I saw and met and was lucky and fortunate to see like Tito Puente live, Winston Marsalis. I got to see Jimmy Slide live. Yeah. So, and it was a really good for me, but I wasn't never going to be a dancer. Like my cousin was a dancer because from that era,
Right.
But I was never going to be. I was either going to be an actor, or really either a lawyer or a writer. Because I wasn't thinking about it. It would happen naturally.
Yeah.
Like when my aunt still has footage of me when I was like 5 or 6 at her wedding, and she was like, he was dancing with every girl he was dancing with every woman, aunts, uncle. He didn't care. He was
Right.
And they were like, my grandfather was like, Michael, he never really said anything. He never really did anything. And then the music comes on, and he's all doing all this stuff, and we're like, when did this happen? But in my mind, I was never like, I'm going to be a dancer. That didn't happen until I got to high school. High school was, because from regular school all the way up was like the worst. That I had no friends until jumpings, a lot of bad stuff happened. But then, but then when I got to high school, Franklin K. Lane, that's where I met the Rue 2000 Rue and Crazy Pop through Rue and Boss and a few others. And for some reason, and mind you, Franklin K. Lane was supposed to be a law situation.
Right.
It was an art. Everyone Reggie went there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was a grade ahead of him, I believe. So
Reggie, the Pioneer Flexer?
Yeah.
Crazy.
When he was when he was real skinny like a twig. And I mean, there was nobody did their work. Like the success rate of going to that high school was like one person graduated. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like it was, but everyone was into the arts. Like you wouldn't. You either went to the weight room, you were a workout head. You went to handball, you were a handball head. You went to basketball, you were basketball. And even in class, if you were the class clown, if you were good enough and you were actually funny that you made the teacher laugh, they look at you and be like, let's transfer you to the media room. And so it had nothing to do with law though. Everyone who went there had nothing to do with that. It's kind of like Mary Bertram. And I think the schools in New York were just like that, where they're supposed to be about this business, blah, 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 and no.
Yeah,
it's just like,
interesting.
Nah.
Wait, what high school did you go to?
Franklin Knight Lane, which became eventually Spider-Man's high school. I was like, oh yeah? Yeah, in the Tom Holland, that high school that's the high school. I laughed. I tried to text everyone who went there, like, you see that crap?
Right.
Taz, also the wrestler, Taz went to that high school as well.
Oh, crazy. So were there any other Brook Up or Flex dancers that went to your high school?
Yeah, Nugget was there. Nugget, Reggie, Chris, Rocks, and his, oh man, if y'all only knew who Rocks and his brother was, oh my Lord have mercy. That was they were bad men, boy. They backflip and backslid and then, they just dynamic and so fantastic. I mean, there was some really interesting, it was a really interesting time because no one was trying to have 1,000 different names for things.
Right.
You're just developing.
Yeah.
And because it was Brookup at the time, you're still following that attitude that Brookup, the person had, George Adams had, with your shots of dancing, but you're doing more of what he was trying to invoke because, it's New York, so you're going to do waving, you're going to do gliding, right? Some people are going to tut in there. But it was just interesting because the character is what drew me to it. Interesting. For him to pull up his pants, did I do that? Like Urkel was like, for me, because I was like, okay, we're dancing, we're sweating, all that, that's good. But what are we saying? And then when I saw that, I was like, huh. Then it got worse when I met Crazy Pop. Because he was just into the robot Michael Jackson. I mean, he could do dances in general, like Rue could.
Right.
Rue is a great dancer just in general. Like you can capoeira, breaking, salsa. He knew every dance. But with Crazy Pop, with Schweig, he could just stop, and all of our sweating, all of our backflipping meant nothing. It's like, because he would just rock it, and we would know why he stopped in the music, and it would be way more insane than what we were doing.
Right.
Even though we enjoyed what we were doing, but I would look at that like, but he's saying something. So then that's when I was like, okay, I'm already waving. I'm going to learn how to stop and stop everything. Conversations, eyes, everything that I could do. That's what I did.
Interesting. Okay, so back up. I have a couple questions. So,
Height.
Would you say Brookup was your first introduction to dancing, or would you say like it didn't have a title yet? Like
no, Brookup would be the first. Brookup was the first time I was aware to make a choice to dance.
Right.
That was the first time I was aware. Like, I think I'm going to dance. But I was a weight room guy too. I was doing powerlifting at that time. Because once again, I had a pretty insane growth spur, but it was like almost like a year or two. It was like, but it was when I knew I could make a choice, like, oh, let me actually dance with people or friends. Yeah, it was Brookup.
Gotcha. Very cool. So
that was the first time.
My second question. So when you saw Crazy Pop do dime stops, that's what impressed you the most, or that's the first time you saw the dime stop?
I mean, I saw, we all watched Mike. We all watched Shrimp.
Yeah.
Because breaking was played.
Maybe
Yeah, in person, I mean, I would see folks with the linoleum, putting it on the floor and breaking. But I would never see somebody that proficient at that time at the robot like Schweig was. And I was like, crap, that looks insane. Because it wasn't a dun dun. I mean, he knew how to do the dancing machine robot, right?
Right.
But he was doing other stuff that was more aligned to somebody like a Robot Prince. So I was just like, what? Or Bapanand, like that, more advanced. So I was like, what is this? And that's when I knew. I was like, okay, I'm going to practice this a lot. It was body control, waving, and dime stopping.
Right. Very cool. So, I'd say when I think of you, I think of your detail, like microwaves and stuff, and I don't know if it has a name for it. What do you call it, and how did you do that? It's pretty amazing. You're like very detailed chest waves and like your very detailed dime stops. How did you do it, first of all? And does it have a name?
it doesn't have a name because I think those who can dime can do it, but they would have to focus on not so much the hard values. They would have to focus on just the more I'm gonna just stop. I'm not the boom, bam,
Right.
boom. More like
Right.
just a little bit. So I think focusing on the micro stops, if you will, that or as some of my friends used to say, penny stops, and I said, I get it. I get it. I get it.
Okay.
From dime to penny. 1 cent, 10 cent, 1 cent. Okay, yeah, that's kind of funny. But I never really named it, but I always felt like people who stopped would know how to do that. But that being said, it was almost as I went along, right? I met full circle, right, from being at the door in New York, which always shout out to everyone from the door, whether it's Baba, Yakko, everybody. But and of course, Quick Step and Rockefeller, meeting them, and that's how I met Stretch, and basically almost that whole Mop Top crew or generation. Specs, that's how I met Specs. That's how I met Jazzy, actually, funny enough. So I met like all of the main heavy dudes there.
Right. Can you give like a time frame, like a
general 2001,
year?
2001, 2002.
Okay, so you got in like...
So I was grew up in high school, 97, 98. And then trying to get better at that, but then I met Crazy Pop in 97 as well. No, 98. And then from that, then when we got to 2001, I was at the door doing a lot of the stuff. We were all at the door doing a lot of stuff because luckily they had, Full Circle had a practice.
Right.
You just go there, it was free.
Right.
It was great, because and we ran into all sorts of some of the folks who, K-Mel used to go to like a Rusty, or Yaya, the backflipping, not the, European. I met him there. I met a whole bunch of people. And of course, I would be remiss to say, Hypno, Tiny, Dr. Funk, Dementia, that's all Union Square. And that's 2001 and 2 as well. So all of it kind of happened at the same year, if you will,
right.
where I was like, oh, okay. I was like, look at all this, this felt good.
Yeah.
So I would say that would be the timeline. And for the most part, I would wave a lot, and somebody would give me Quick Step would be like, okay, you could wave against the wall, and I was like, okay. But then I took that and did what I did with it, or when learning Boog in some way, I would just watch, and I'd be like, I think I know how to do that. I would have to slow it down because of my height for me anyway. And besides the way Jazzy was doing it at that time when he was Soulfire, that was a whole other story. But then when it was me and Stretch, and we were talking, and he was talking about how he used to sit in horse stance and dime stop and see how long that he can sit in that and dime stop. And I was like, I need to make sure that I have something for myself like that, that I can continue to go to and continue to just break it down and let it break down more and more and more. So when it came to isolation, because I knew I was waving, but I was like, I want more and more and more. I became greedy. I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna 1, 2, 3. Okay, I can make a shape. One, I can break that shape up. Ooh, look at that. And now I can circle and now waving it. Oh, okay. What about here? 1, 2, 3. Okay, circle. I can make small circle. Okay. What about here? Oh, this works. It was really me literally going through my whole body.
Right.
And saying, what do you do? From the scapula to the delta to the ribs I was trying to ask my thyroid what it does. I was trying to do all of that, and that's when at one point Stretch was also like, yo, no one's gonna see those things. It's too small. And so, because he was talking for stage.
Right.
And I said, yeah, shut up. I was like, I'm gonna do it anyway, and continue to just master it because I believed in, I guess, the root of the movement in a way, where it wasn't just because I'm doing boom, 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 boom. It was something about, okay, I feel it in here first, and then in here, and then in here, and then in here. So it wasn't just, oh, I'm just in the pose now. It's like if I wanted to feel everything. So that's, I really dedicated time to focusing on isolation and then dime stopping within that. And trying to stop without being tense. Trying to stop without just being, without having to, because I was like, well, it doesn't, red light, green light, 1, 2, 3.
Right.
If I showed the power, it kind of takes away from the idea of the magic of the stop for me. So I was thinking about that a lot. And then years and years later, when I finally met Bob and Andre, and he was talking about how they like to, how they like to break it up instead of just going tick, 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 tick. Even he was like, but if you just know how to stop, it's a good thing to do. It's the root of it. And I said, that's what I've been working on. So it was always the root of it, not necessarily that I had to do a move so I can do stuff. It was more like, because it's in your body, not necessarily outside, it's in your body. So you have to ask your body those questions, so.
It's interesting, the circle. So what is
the box into the circle?
No, the session you were talking about, open circle.
Oh, the full circle. So, yeah.
It's interesting that you met just movement specialists of all styles that all kind of contributed something. Like it wasn't like, oh, just like an animation OG or like a poppin' OG. It was like just people that understood movement. It's interesting, like everybody had a session to go to where now I feel like our sessions are very divided, but it's interesting to hear your experience where like y'all were all in the same room.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and shout out to Quickstep and Rockefeller. Quickstep is still spinning on his head. I know it for a fact because I did a show with them 2 months ago, and I saw him do it in the show, and I said, listen, and
that's crazy.
and it was for them, and I think for a lot of us in NYC, right? Why do people come here, right? I mean, oh, that person's crazy, that person's crazy. But the actors come here and watch us. They're like, oh, shoot, that's something I can use. And really, we were always the creative bunch. Maybe I'm not going to sit here and say that no one worked for it physically, but it was in here first a lot.
Right.
Like when you look at Professor, when Salim storyboard, you know that a lot of his stuff is like sitting in him.
Right.
Like he's like it's sitting in him. Like you can see like, okay, this is from Silent Hill, this is from Guilty, this is from the games he played, and this is from the guy he saw walking down the street. That you knew that these things were a part of that diaspora, and that's just New York.
Yeah.
So you could get dance from anyone and be like, I think so it was always there.
Right.
And then when you meet people who do practice, well, now you have your nature, but now you have the nurture part of it. And that's why I learned nurturing. I learned that from being in the weight room in the high school, but also that you have to have a nurturing part as much as your natural situation. You know what I mean?
I think you already answered it, but I also wanted to ask, like, around 2001, like Union Square was popping, you were seeing Jazzy J, you were seeing Dementia, all these, like, how did you lean towards being the animator that you are after being exposed to all that? Like, I'm so curious how that became, but it seemed like you just dove into your curiosity with that dime stop more, but you still kept movement in mind, and then you went to the source of what the meaning meant and what it came from and what you were trying to express, and then articulating that the best way was doing it in a dime stop. Like, what do you say?
And waving, and waving, yeah. Doing it in both of those, because I felt like waving, I mean, as it was told to all of us that, if you robot, wave, and glide, you can boogaloo. And I was like, oh, really? But that being said, and I never thought I had a good robot, because it wasn't really the physical, it was the mental for me. Figuring out what my job was, because I didn't want to just, I'm dancing.
Right.
I wanted to be on beat and dance. Obviously, I'm dancing, I'm using things, but I needed to find something that worked, that worked on the level that I was thinking about. My imagination is a little wilder than my physical. So I had to match a little bit more so it won't feel like I'm just doing what everyone else is doing, on top of still finding the rhythm and the music in there. You know what I mean? So I had to find that eventually for myself. I mean, to me, I got better with the robot later. Animation was like that was just me. I was just like, oh, I'm at home here. And waving, I was at home. But the robot I thought was the hardest, because strictly, if you could see when I break it, if I can continue to do this, and I'm maybe okay, right? I'm like, okay, that, and then here, and then here, and then that's my job to do. Welcome to Movie Phone, where your dreams and reality can come true. Please buy your tickets at 1-800-MOVIE-PHONE. Thank you. But you could tell when I break it, if I start to, I hear music, so now I gotta boo, back, boo, boo, back, boo, boo. I still have to find the music whilst I'm doing back, do, da, do, da, do, 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 da, do, da, do, do, da, do, da, da, do. You can do more,
right?
But the consistency of the robot was always the hardest thing,
right?
Mentally.
That was amazing. Like, you have a lot of character. Like, I think watching you dancing, I see a whole theater show. I see a whole theater movie. I see like different people, like different personalities. Like, you have so much character. What inspiration do you get from that? Like, how do you develop your characters, and what?
I'm the heaviest nerd you'll know. Not the heaviest. Well, maybe the heaviest. I'm a nerd in the fact that, not just nerd in terms of the outward sense of like, oh, you like anime, or you Poindexter, you're smart. It's like I just like to kind of dissect and watch and see. And for me, a dance style that we call popping, or even strutting, or even posing, it's like, okay, but why are you posing? Why am I posing? It could be, because I'm fly, but I'm posing. I could be posing with the...
Yes. It's incredible. T.
Why am I posing? And I think asking the whys is what led me to more character. I mean, I was already a character boy.
Right.
I was always a character boy.
Right.
But I think, outside of like theater and stage helping me with that too.
How so?
We used to do improvisational theater
training.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know this, but Big Mike has a degree in theater.
No, well, not. Well, I'll say it's all right, honey.
It's okay.
It's more. It's for me. It's like.
Or some background in theater.
Yeah, I have a background. I have a background in improvisational theater.
Okay.
And I did Faces. It was actually Faces. It was me, Rue, and a few others, and we did Faces. That's how I met Zoe Zaldana and her sister.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're fire. Incredibly talented.
Yeah. So I saw it firsthand in front of my face, like, oh, and it was right before she got the ballet movie that everyone remembers. The way you make me. They had
what is that? I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes. But that they helped me to kind of hone those ideas that I've always had when I was young, wanting to be in Voltron, like control, or wanting to, be a Jedi. Not necessarily. I never wanted to be my heroes per se, or who I liked. I always wanted to be part of the story, so I would make new stories as if I was next to them or I was helping them.
Interesting.
Never did I say I need to become Optimus Prime. I was always like, if I was a Transformer, which vehicle would I choose?
Interesting.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that was always my
Interesting
approach.
perspective. Wow.
Like if I'm a vampire, I'm like, okay, maybe I've trained, so I know not to drink blood. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
my imagination would take place after that. So
Wow.
you know.
Well, that's all the questions I have. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, Big Mike Supreme. So if anybody wants to find you, where can they find you? For like linking, privates, judging, hangout. Like,
I had 5 jokes. In the Matrix, and it would have been a mess. But hey, Instagram, Big Mike Supreme.
okay, Big Mike Supreme Instagram.
Big Mike Omega Supreme, and
You
that's a
got
long story.
Email.
That's a long story. Big Mike Supreme at Gmail.
Yeah.
And,
So if you're in New York, hit up Big Mike. It's a really good source for dance. And yeah, wrap it up.